Hello, I'm Martin Brossman, and I'm here with one of the co-authors of the book Careering. And Dana, it's great to have you here. And I want to talk about this and my experience of working with young people with debt over 100 grand, not able to get a job.
Yeah, it's a big problem for many young people today, and I think there are several ways to address the issue, including taking a look at what your current skills are and whether or not they're really wanted in the marketplace, not just now, but in the next few years. And we know that jobs are going to change radically in the next few years, primarily due to technological advance. So what you're doing today, if you're working or not, what you're doing today is going to be so different. And if you're not prepared, you're going to be left at the station. And that could mean not just underemployed, but maybe unemployed. And so it is so important to be very, very proactive. And some simple steps include staying on top of trends in your desired area of work and seeing, is my job going to be obsolete? And taking an honest assessment. If you look at what you like to do and you pull several different bits of research around employers and industries that you think you'd like to work in, take a look at what the research says about how the jobs are going to change, and then take training, available training online, live courses, gravitate towards those things that are going to make you more relevant and not less relevant.
And for my experience of seeing people that get out of school, when I got out of school with a 4-year degree, the 4-year degree was enough clout to get me in the door. Now it's so competitive, I tell people they should almost treat their degree as the icing on the cake and then ask what the cake's made out of.
Absolutely. And the same is true for me. We graduated from college and at about the same time, and things were different then. And that piece of paper carried a lot more weight than it does today in the eyes of an employer. And today, employers are looking for more pragmatic aspects of what is going to be, what does the person need to be a successful worker. And a degree is important and it's still helpful, but a certification, recent skills training that you've done that is documented that you can show them, they want to know that you can walk in and do that job pretty much day one. And so going the extra mile and filling in the dots on those things that are important to the employers is where the action is.
I want to give an example. I just went to a breakfast place and was talking to a nice waiter that's there, and I said, what do you want to do? And he says, well, I actually have a marketing degree and I'm here until August and then I'm going to another location. And I said, do you have a LinkedIn profile? Have you written several articles to show expert knowledge in your field on your LinkedIn profile? Have you given some recommendations enough to show you are engaging with people to care enough to make the effort? And he's like, no, I don't have any of those. Then I said, are your parents willing to let you live in their basement? because it's a horrible disjustice we've done to the younger people to not tell them your education is a small component of the big picture, not to unvalue good education. That's great you did it. But if you aren't running and building up your personal brand, so you're pre-screenable, they're knowledgeable, there's something to find out there, you've got a network beyond what you've done. Even if, for example, in school, you did a project and you could talk to your professor of how does this project map onto the real world, and maybe write it up authentically as an article on LinkedIn saying, here's a project I did in school and here's the connection I see to the real world in this, showing you can solve complex problems and you understand the complex pieces in the workplace. And if you don't, reach out to people. Talk to them about it. And that's, to me, a few of the very basic things that are critical is building that personal brand. I want to just say, Dana, and you were kind enough to come to our social media management class. We've had about 4 or 5 people, real talented, that had good degrees, very capable, unable to get jobs, took the course, took the advice I just gave, and they've at least got into positive starter jobs that could lead to more money, at least in their field.
Yeah, and that's excellent. And that's a prime example of what I said about, what do employers want? They want people that can get the job done, and they want documentation that demonstrates that before they hire you. The idea of branding is huge. And if you're, a number of people, probably half the population, are introverts, and branding and self-promotion is the last thing you want to do. But the difference today between success and not being successful can lie in stepping out of your comfort zone and recognizing that or acknowledging and accepting that you have to be a little self-promotional. All right. And then secondly, the other element of success in what we call the new world of work in our book is it has to do with being selfless. So if in the old days, you could get by in business being pretty selfish. You can kind of join a company. What's in it for me? If I kept my nose clean and did a good job for the boss, they're going to promote me. I didn't necessarily have to help a lot of people in that process, except my boss. Mm-hmm. Today, in more of a free agent type structure, you got to have a lot of friends inside and outside your company, inside and outside of different industries. And a lot of that friendship building is building goodwill. And that means maybe you've done something nice for them, either professionally or personally, to help them with any particular need that they might have. So relationship building is so important. And that branding component that you mentioned, Martin, about having a really inspiring LinkedIn profile
that tells tells the story arc of you. It's not a lame as data sheet that looks like a resume. That's about as useless as you can get.
Absolutely, and it can work against you.
Yeah.
Okay. Content and imaging is where we're at today as a society. So if you're out there and you truly want to do work that's meaningful, either rewarded well monetarily or perhaps work that you're passionate about, that you really like, you got to play the new game. And whether you like it or not, whether it makes you feel uncomfortable, you got to make a lot of friends. And you got to look out for other people. And at the same time, you have to recognize that the difference between a simple example of maybe a photo of you from this that's just taken arbitrarily versus a nice professional photo on LinkedIn makes a big difference. Yeah. Misspelled words, poor English.
You don't recommend those.
Any of those things you want to stay away from like the plague, because people are very visual today.
Yeah.
And their attention spans are short. So if I am a hiring manager, I might spend 5 seconds looking at your profile, all right? And I'm going to draw conclusions that, for right or wrong reasons, I'm going to have a perception of you in an instant.
Yeah. And then the other piece is, if you're not as accustomed to working and being in front of people, do the ground game as well. You need to show up for people. You might have to get out of the house and build some skills in communicating with people, Toastmasters, something like that, to improve your ability to be on the ground and on the web with a brand that's recognized. And I think both are key aspects of it.
Listen, living in the basement and feeling inadequate and feeling less than is not the way to have a life.
Yeah.
All right. The way to have a fulfilling life is, as Martin says, to get out and to meet people and to contribute to society. And you will be rewarded for that handsomely. And, there are, he mentioned Toastmasters, any number of programs out there to get out and to do this. And even if you end up doing very analytical work that takes you to a computer, that's fine, but take a break and get out and do that kind of networking. Get out, volunteer. I run a job search group, as Martin knows, a job network group out of Apex. And the people who have had the best career success are those who have volunteered a bit of their time to help other people.
Yep. Let's take a minute and talk about the book, because I wanted to make sure to mention it. This is not just a book, but it is a cause, a program, an idea of paying it forward ongoingly, not just showing up when you need a job and then forgetting about it and put your head in the sand like so many professionals, even in my age group, still do. I worked with somebody, a large company, I go, I said, your LinkedIn looks like you just don't care and haven't even listed your current job. And it's like, well, I'm hoping this will be a secure job. And I said, hoping's a very bad career strategy. And so let's talk about what this is and the cause that you're building.
Yeah. So, hoping for a secure job. All right. In the average person changes employers every 4 or 5 years now. Right. So,
if not sooner.
So in some cases sooner. So, and that's about 50% are voluntary and 50% are involuntary, because corporations are continuing to right size, downsize, outsource, change, everything else. And so it's a very, very dynamic workforce like we've never seen in history, really. And so job searching is just something that's part of a career management strategy that you have to undertake every few years. The least effective people are ones who get that job and go into the cubicle and hide, and they don't surface until they need a job in 4 or 5 years. And guess what? When you go back out and you've been, you were active and you were helping other people, and then you go into that abscess, all right, and you don't surface until you need something, people remember that. And some people
not in a favorable way,
and they're gonna remember that. They're gonna see your neediness and your desperation. Compare that to the person who gets that next job and maybe reaches out to other people, makes introductions and referrals to the new company to help other people get employed there if it's a good company. Continues to volunteer and be involved with the community. Then when you need to search again, guess what? People might be searching you. They might be pursuing you because you have built that brand that Martin talks about. That's so important, and that equity. And secondly, even if they don't search you out, you're going to have that network you can tap into, and you can email them, text them, call them, and say, guess what? I'm looking for a new opportunity. And many of them will respond to you favorably.
Talk about the cause. What is it? This is more than a book.
So we have the careering book, and then we have the careering movement. And the careering movement is a call to action to establish, if you're not already part of one, to establish groups. You can do that inside. The book is faith-based. You can do it inside of churches, outside of churches. You can call these job search groups. You can call them networking groups. You can call them mastermind groups, accountability groups. So here's the thing. We know that people who join together and help each other with their careers, all right, or their business interests, do 20 to 30% better in terms of career performance than those that don't belong to groups. And guess how much these groups cost? They can be free, right? But what we're hoping is all across America is that people form these groups and work together. Now, this book is faith-based. We started with Catholic Christian. That's my primary orientation, and we're encouraging particularly Catholic organizations to develop these groups all across the country. Other denominations, though, the principles are the same, regardless of faith. All right, the careering principles are solid, and you can teach them inside of a temple, inside of a mosque, inside of any faith-based you want, or in secular, all right, in any non-faith environment. It doesn't matter.
Right.
The principles are solid.
Yeah, excellent. How can they learn more about it?
So what we're recommending, and people are doing this, is the book has exercises at the end of every chapter. So we recommend that you go out and purchase multiple copies. Have them at the ready, as Martin has done. He's handed out several copies to people that are, have mentioned to him, hey, I'm looking for a job, or I want to improve my career. And guess what? Martin offers this as a gift to them. It's incredible goodwill that he achieves through that. Our proceeds are donated to charity. We've made several rounds of donations so far, and so the proceeds go to charity. It's only $14.95 per copy, and you can get them on Amazon. So if you just sign into Amazon and key in careering, it'll pop up. It's the first one that pops up.
Excellent. And then you guys offer speaking and training. We'll put the links below in the show notes here. And this great, Dana. I just want to do it. I'll let you see the beautiful cover. Excellent book. It's a workbook / resource that was built, and I had the honor of being part of its development and ideas. And I love to hear. I met some of the people who got the first checks, and they were going, we're pretty excited about this when they got checks. So it's a real model of pay it forward, which is what they're teaching in your career. And I want to hear your success stories. If any of these things have mentioned that have helped you, make a mention below along with this. And, friends don't let friends live ordinary lives. So stand up to your friends and rattle them and go, how's your LinkedIn profile? How's your network? Have you given a review or recommendation to someone this month? Have you made a pay it forward effort to connect to somebody? And if you haven't, be a little annoying to get them to do it. If you know me, I did. In fact, the guy I was serving me today, I made him uncomfortable enough. He goes, okay, I'll look at my LinkedIn profile.
Good for you. Good for you, Martin. That's a real service you're performing. Yeah. And so, Martin would love to hear your stories. And also on the career, we have a website called careeringbook.com. We're interested in your career story as well. And so just click on the site and you can, follow the links to telling your story. And we'd love to hear it.
Listed below. Great. Thanks very much.